Hogstye.
Hello, everybody. I don't know what the hell Steve's doing. Steve was just treating us like his dentist. Looking at a molar there. I don't really
Did you
know
want
what
to
was.
see that?
No, I did not want to see that. Did not need a close up of your incisors. That's a new one for us. All right, hey everybody, welcome to the show.
This
It's
is the
Alex,
dental
Steve,
hour.
and Dave.
Yeah,
Welcome
right.
to the Hogstye, in case you don't know what you're listening to. And if you don't know what you're listening to, I'm worried for you.
What
Because
are you
there's
doing
pictures
here?
on all these podcasts of our name, right? So pay attention to your phone.
If I ever put a photograph of me on the internet, it's definitely going to be just the inside of my mouth. That's going to be my headshot.
Yeah. Hey, with the technology people have today, Steve, they could probably figure it out from there, though.
Well, let's hope. I guess I'll have to avoid it then. So, because I'm already too easy to find. I don't want
Yeah.
to
You'll
get
have
more
someone
hits.
out there extracting your dental record somehow.
Somebody
just by
has.
that.
People have already tried. So you haven't been around since the
Yep.
beginning. People have tried to find us before.
Yes, I'm never by dental records, as far as we know.
Well, that
As
one
you
time
know-
Alex flashed his credit card online, we had to take care of that quickly.
That was not a smart move on my part. All right.
Oh, I have a question though. So here's here's the dilemma that I'm posed with. I really, really want to see Queen play concert.
All right.
They're touring again.
Yeah.
And
I
I thought,
went
this is
when they were in
great.
DC.
This is great. Then I realized that the minimum price to walk in the door is going to be like $400, $300 or $400. To
Yeah.
me, that's over. I don't care. I've always said, even if Jimi Hendrix returns from the dead to play one show only in my
Right.
hometown, if it's more than about $200, I'm not going to go.
And
But
this
it's
is with
but-
Adam Lambert.
But it is Brian May,
Yes.
and
And he's
it-
fantastic. He
Yeah, he
he
is.
still crushes it.
and the drummer is there.
Yep.
What's his name? Roger Taylor.
Yep.
Is there. So and Brian May's like in his 70s. He may not ever tour again.
Yeah.
So the question is, do I break down and pay the $400? I'm leaning no. But other things, I have to travel to see it because they're not coming to Houston.
So here's what I would say, Steve. Money aside, I thought it was a very good show when I went and saw it.
Oh, you've
It's-
seen him?
Yeah. So because of Dora's old gig where she worked at, and was in ticket sales, she was friends with a guy a scalper, because they would, buy tickets in bulk from her to resell and vice versa. And he hooked us up with like third row seats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because he asked Dora, what shows are you guys doing that are going to crush? And she said, no one's talking about this one. This one's going to be amazing. Get what you can. And it was really successful for him. So he gave her a bottle of Dom, and he gave her that. So
Did you enjoy the show?
I enjoyed the show, and Adam Lambert does a good job. He's still not Freddie.
Nobody is Freddie, though. I
Yeah.
think he's
Freddie.
passable. He's as good of an
He's
imitation
as close as you're ever
get.
going to get. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got the same kind of attitude on stage and all of that.
Very much a lot of the same attitude. You'll be annoyed by him at points because he's very out.
I don't care about that. I mean,
yeah.
Rob Halford's out, so what?
Sure. I'm just
play
saying
rock and
Adam
roll.
Lambert's that level of out that everyone finds annoying.
But I know that going in though.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say though, like their biggest song is Bohemian Rhapsody. He can't hit it. It's not in his range.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, everyone's got a range, right?
Adam Lambert's got a
range
great
doesn't get
great
there.
voice though.
Right.
Yeah.
But Freddie Mercury was
Mhm.
special when it comes to vocals. I mean,
of course.
nobody can do what Freddie's probably. If you had to rank order vocalists in rock and roll, he's probably number one.
Oh yeah. In all
Realistically,
rock and roll
probably number one.
history.
Yeah, probably him.
There are others that you can make a debate about. I'd hear that, but yeah.
But the
he's
total
gonna
package is probably, and like you can't just replace Freddie Mercury. You've got to replace him with multiple people, or just not be able to do
because he can hit the falsettos and he can go low. Like his range is just
it. Well,
incredible.
and he had a stage presence like nobody has.
Oh yeah, he was a showman. For
But
sure.
I thought that would be a really good show to see. But now I'm like debating this: do I have to fly somewhere and pay $400 at a minimum for
For a
Yeah,
good seat, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be more than that for a good seat.
We don't even know what the seat we got would have been. I'm guessing it would have been
A lot.
probably even more than 4.
Yeah.
For
Because
thir-
I'd be violating my own, Jimi
Right.
Hendrix coming back from the dead principle with this.
right. Because Freddie ain't coming back from the dead for this.
Even if he was, I wouldn't.
Right.
There'd be a limit.
Right.
You haven't
Yeah,
opined, Mr. Earl.
Yeah, but it's Queen though. It's Queen.
I know. That's what I'm
Four-
saying. That's the only reason I'm
$400.
not. I didn't,
$400. I'll be honest with you. It's to go see Queen. You know it's going to be a great show.
It is a great show.
I mean,
but I
it's
have
just-
a principle. If you
I
know
know-
nothing about me,
I,
you know I am uncompromising.
I understand what your principles are, but you know what? Sometimes there are just certain things where if you don't bend that principle once in a while, you're going to regret not doing it, especially if you're around someone who went to the show and they talk about like Alex just did.
Mhm.
And you're going to go, you know what? That extra $200 would have been worth it, especially
Except-
for someone like you.
That I have drawn a line in the sand, and I do not compromise. The only reason
Right.
I'm even having this conversation is because what you said. It's
Yeah, but-
Queen. It's
yeah,
Queen.
but
I
keep
gotta.
It's
think
it's
Yeah, but-
really
Yeah, but keep in mind, you're compromising with yourself. It's not like you're compromising with anybody else. You're just compromising with yourself. You're not giving to anyone in but yourself.
Steve. Let me
I
ask you.
realize
Let
that.
me ask you because
So then go.
we talked about the Freddie thing.
Yes.
And that aside, Brian May as a guitarist, incredibly talented too,
Yes.
and that's what you're going to see because you're a guitar file. Like
Yes.
you're nuts about great guitarists.
I am.
And as far as living rock guitarist, where do you put him? And that's what you need to kind of answer for yourself to answer this question, I think.
He's got a very unique style, and he's got a very unique
Sure.
tone. I wouldn't put him in. He's not like Yngwie Malmsteen. He doesn't play like that.
Mhm.
But he's a tremendous songwriter, and his style is very hard to mimic.
Sure.
And the other thing is, if you guys don't know this, he's played the same guitar since the beginning.
I didn't know
Like
that.
the actual same,
I knew that.
not the same model, the actual same instrument.
Wow.
He and his father built that from scratch, like from nothing.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because the dude's also an astrophysicist.
Yeah,
Like,
he's a smart guy. Yeah, he's a smart guy. But
He helped
like,
NASA.
but like Eddie Van Halen built his guitars, but Eddie was taking parts from here and there, and he'd go buy a neck from Charvel and put together, and he wound up picking up stuff. But Brian May, like, cut the wood, wound the pickups himself, built he and his dad, and he only played. So I would love to see that particular
He
guitar
whittled.
live too.
Did he whittle something for it? You think?
I assume he whittled.
Yeah.
So
There
Brian
you
May's
go.
up there. He's a legend in my world. He's a legend for sure. That's
Sure.
the only reason I brought this up is that reason. Or all of this.
I think you just answered your own question.
No, I didn't. It's over
Yes, you did.
$200. So I do not. If Jimi Hendrix came back from the dead, I would not.
Because
go.
you're not going to want to go to nosebleeds for it. That's the problem.
That's the thing. I know.
Yeah. Because nosebleeds, I'm sure, are still under 100.
Well, yeah.
No, they're not.
If you're going
Not-
that
Oh,
far,
really?
No. Well, I shouldn't say that. I doubt they're over 100, under 100 because of the price of the floor and the first rung of in
Right.
the arena seats. So but I didn't even consider that because why would you go sit in the upper deck? Really?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's not even worth it.
No.
Then
I could watch YouTube and on headphones for that.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we all agree with that.
See,
Like, if
Dave,
you're-
it's easy for you. You just say when you're spending my money. Yeah, sure, go.
no, because I've had decisions like that I've made. Buying
Sure.
these season tickets this year, honestly, I really truly couldn't really afford them this year. But you know what? And thankfully, because my wife is fantastic on dealing with money, we made it work. I wasn't going to spend that kind of money for season tickets, but
Tell
you
you
know
what.
what? Dan's on his way out. I want to get in, and I got great seats for it, and I'm not regretting it.
Tell you what, I'll come to the Philadelphia show if you let me stay in your rental house.
I'm
I don't know if
selling
his rental house is safe to stay in yet.
I'm
You're
selling
selling
it.
it?
That's the thing. Yes, we
Oh,
are
good.
selling it
Good
after
for
all.
you. For $5 at this point, right?
Oh. And I'm trying to decide what we have to get a new toilet for our bathroom because apparently there's, the pipes have started to get clogged with what do you call it, lime or whatever it is.
We all know what the
Sediment.
pipes are clogged with, Dave.
Yes.
Well, I could give you one of mine out of this rental if you want.
Put it in a box and ship it FedEx.
There you go.
A very, very big box. Yeah. We're debating about like, do we spend $200 on a toilet or like $1,000 on a toilet? So
I would not spend $1,000 on a toilet.
my wife wants one of these fancy modern like robotic toilets. I don't
Why
know.
would she? What is the point of that?
Were you the one that shared the one with the
the
that
blue
one
light?
right there. Yeah, that's
you like
crazy.
my joke there?
Yes.
The IBM joke.
Yeah. That was good. I like that.
I didn't see this, I guess.
Okay, so she wants the reason people want these is their bidets and all that stuff. That's what she wants. Not my thing. So it's got a blue glowing light in the picture that I shared, and I said they should call it the IBM, kind of like the iPhone. Get it?
Oh, that's like
It's
a
a Bruce
Simpsons
joke,
joke or
everybody.
something. Don't listen to her, okay? Just
No.
buy the $200 toilet and put it in and be done.
Yeah, that's my vote. But Steve, you were married. You remember how these votes usually go.
I say no anyway, though. And P, they get, you just suck up the bad energy for an hour and you're fine. I just had to spend
We're
$1,400.
eventually going to redo the whole bathroom. I think we'll just go cheap for now.
I did have to spend $1,400 on a dishwasher recently, though.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No, because thanks to the Alex Zeeses of the world who are environmental nutsos, the only ones you can get a heating coil in are the super expensive ones, and I was not going to buy a dishwasher that does not dry dishes. So
You spent how much for one?
All in with including installation was $1,400.
Because the one that I had got, it dries and everything. I think I spent like $800 for it.
Do you have a heating? It does it have a heating coil on the bottom?
Yes.
And with the stainless steel inside.
Yes, everything.
By the way, Steve, Dave just sent you the tweet I put out.
Yes.
Oh, he did?
Yes,
so you can see the stupidly modern, over like technical toilet.
See, that's ridiculous, Alex. And by the way, I was stuck with a particular brand because of the other stuff in my kitchen. Is the other thing.
Yeah, it's like you want to have all Samsung or whatever brand it is.
Right. Yeah, this look, I'm throwing you off the show if you buy this stupid toilet, okay?
I will at least always keep the downstairs bathroom here like just simple, because
tell your bride that it is.
My wife does not go in the basement. That's for me.
I tell her I have decided, and you're not doing it.
Yeah, it's nuts, right? Also, the price on that, it starts with an 8, which is ridiculous.
That's
for
crazy.
A toilet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. If it was $200, I might even consider it, but you
know. No. As a matter of principle, you do not need a glowing blue toilet. Okay.
It's the glowing that makes it creepy.
Yes, I know. And like, what's the glowing do to you? It's Is this radiation? And it's because it's radiating bad places.
Something. Yeah.
It's that ultraviolet light that helps keep like everything sanitized. When you close it sanitizes everything, and boom.
Also fights
cancer. I have no idea.
Buy a toilet brush. They're like $10.
Yeah. By the way, we've now done 13 minutes and not said Commanders once.
Clean and toilet talk. Well, we're supposed to talk about football, aren't we?
I guess.
Well, actually, toilet talk could be a great transition to something about FedEx, right?
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, that's true. There you go. Oh, one of the things we should talk about, because I didn't put it on the list. There was a interview with the governor of Maryland. Speaking of FedEx Field.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yes.
Yeah. He's now making the pitch to keep the Commanders in PG County. Now that Dan Snyder's gone, everyone wants them back.
So
it's very funny.
I need to run. I'm just going to break down and buy a title search on this property because Prince George's County will not let me research title for free, unfortunately, because of the way their records are set up and everything.
That's just stupid.
But yeah, I know. Like in Harris County here in Texas, I can do it without having to pay. So anyway, I want to say that there's a reversion in title after like at year like 30 or something back to Prince George's County. Okay, I think there is, and if that is the case, then Danny or the next owner, Harris, will need to cut a deal with Harris County to make it work.
Yeah. PG County, but
And there was a bunch of incentives to PG County in that original deal. I mean, they got like dibs on some suites and stuff, and there was tax revenue stuff in the deal. I worked a little bit on this.
Yeah.
So they'd have to cut a deal with Harris County to make it happen.
And that's the reason you kind of know some of this stuff is because you were slightly involved way back when.
Well, that one, yeah, but I did a couple others that I was much more involved in. Yeah.
Right.
But the PG County, but the FedEx Field, I was kind of tangentially, on the outskirts.
And it's fair that you would probably want to check in at some point just because stuff might have changed.
Also, I mean, I'm a commercial real estate attorney.
Yeah. You also just are fascinated by that stuff.
No, it's like if you want anybody to tell you what's the truth is, it would be me. I'm a legitimate expert in this field. So.
Right. I mean, but they're already talking about they're going to have to stay there till 2031 now.
I don't want to spend $200 to pay some title search company to do title for me. That's the main reason why I haven't done it is I'm just cheap.
Right.
Well, that's kind of unnecessary spending. Not really being cheap.
Well, see, I could just spend hogstye money on it though, but I just haven't.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
that's true.
And I have not taken the time to do the title search myself, which one of these days I'll break down and do it. Just start charging stuff, but I haven't talked myself into it yet.
Yeah, but all that there wasn't a whole lot to the discussion. He just is like, well, we want to keep it now.
Yeah. So, but the serious part of it is that they need Harris County. That's what you should take from all this nonsense. Sorry, yeah, they need PG County. They need to cut a deal with them to make it happen. Even to stay in FedEx Field they need to cut a deal with Prince George's County.
Right.
And they're not just gonna, put lipstick on a pig. They would probably rebuild on the site, which is a whole huge project.
Right. Or build next to where the current stadium is in a parking lot or something. Yeah.
You guys talked about that before. They have enough room to build a stadium while they still play any other one, right?
You could do that.
Yeah.
They could just keep buying some more crappy commercial property around it and just start bulldozing.
Now, Steve,
I don't know if that mall up there is still open that was right next door or not.
The one across the highway, they're rebuilding that right now.
No, but there was one that was not immediately adjacent, but fairly near the FedEx site, and I can't remember. It was a terrible mall.
Like the strip mall thing?
Well, I thought it was larger than a strip mall. It was like a bunch of gangbangers, and it was like a really horrible. Maybe it's been gone a long time.
Been ripped down at least once.
So. Maybe it's been gone a long time then. Yeah.
Now, so correct me if I'm wrong, Steve. But from what you do know, it's not like they own the land and they could sell it and make a fortune off the land.
No, like I said, there's some kind of I believe there's some kind of the deed has some sort of reversion back to Prince George's County under some conditions that's after some time, and that's what I need to read. I just haven't pulled the title, but I will. I'll just break down and pay the money
at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that's going on. Of course, the Harris Group met in New York City in the Orange Sun universe of New York City today. Just crazy looking over there. But they met with the NFL's Finance Committee, which is just a subset of like half the owners or not even, like a handful of owners.
It's a small number of,
a gaggle of owners. They met for 2.5 hours. There's not a lot of details that have come out yet, but it sounds like from the Post's reporting that whatever they've changed in their financing, the NFL's happy with now, and they're going to move forward with the approval process, and there could be a vote next month. Late July is what they're kind of talking about right now.
So I hate to go backwards, but now I'm looking at a photo of New York City.
Yeah.
It looks like some sort of dystopian
post-apocalyptic movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it looks like New York looked in the 60s and 70s back when pollution was just rampant.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract.
Or if you want to think of what a developed city would look like on Mars.
There you go. Yeah.
It very much has a Martian look to it. 70s pollution is another one. And then a lot of people are saying post-apocalyptic film. Like, there should be zombies now. By the way, that's being caused by a giant fire. All that smoke's going to come down here. It might actually affect the Commanders mini camp tomorrow, because if the pollution's bad enough, they won't want to have it outside. Obviously, they'll move it indoors.
They just need to plant Matt Damon in a spacesuit on the corner, and it would be.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I missed your. Why don't you repeat your point, Alex? Because I missed your
about
point totally. Yeah.
which point?
Whatever
Well,
you said before, I went totally off the rails into
well,
New
okay.
York.
So I said that it sounds like the finance committee approves of whatever changes Harris made. We don't know what those are. We don't know if that billion is now just going to be paid by him or one of the
My
other
guess is
owners or
that he
any of that.
found somebody, one of the existing owners, probably, or multiple of them, just agreed to pony up
Right.
collectively $1 billion. That's probably what happened.
Everyone pays 50 million and we're good somehow.
Yeah,
that kind
they'll
of thing.
go dig under your couch cushions, find
Right,
50
yeah,
million each. Yeah.
Yep.
They called me. I mean, I declined to participate.
Yeah.
I
So
was just 1-0 off, so they said no.
I know. That's for me. I offered $100, and they acted like that was an insult. So
I was multiple zeros off, and they were all in the front of the thing. I offered a lot of zeros, but they were in front of the only numbers that were in.
Yeah, it didn't work out quite the way you wanted.
0 0 0 1 0 0.
I mean, I do legitimately think Josh Harris is stretched a bit thin with this.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I think it's a legitimate concern. And what I have read is that the only reason the finance committee is even considering this bid is because of Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this would be a no-go. Because, I mean, he's got 3 other sports teams, a ton of debt, a ton of partners. He's not one of these Elon Musk level billionaire types with truckloads of assets and other things and everything. So, I mean, I get it. And the reason why the NFL, anybody wonders, the reason why the NFL cares about this is they do not want problems if bad happens. They don't want like Citibank to roll in and start threatening to foreclose on assets. And if you have a bunch of partners, it's a bunch of partners that for the most part are not as wealthy,
Right.
And they'd rather have a handful of people that are very wealthy and can afford to live out some bad times and not get threatened by some lender. I mean, that's ultimately why they care.
At the same time, the NFL is still mostly hesitant towards foreign investors. I know the Harris Group has one, that group from Colombia, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we just saw what's going on with the PGA. Like the
NFL we're going to talk about
want
that, by the way, next week on the next It's Just Business
IJB.
show.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be the bulk of what you're talking about.
It will be the lead story.
Yeah, because that's a crazy story right there.
It is.
And you don't want that happening. We don't want that happening to the NFL. We don't want the Saudis buying out teams and starting to move them to Qatar or something.
Well, I mean, that would never happen because they just
I know.
declined to approve it.
Right. Until they offer $10 billion for a team.
Well, and the NFL has a rule. I mean, it can't be corporate ownership. It's got to be closely held.
Right.
So you couldn't have like the Saudi investment fund rolled in. It would have to be Sheikh Abdullah Al somebody, individually.
Yeah. But the NFL's, always tried to keep it, individual owners. And I think overall it's a good thing, but it's going to be harder and harder for them long term.
It is a good thing. And I think in my view, they do that for competitive reasons. Because if you bring in like GM to go buy the Detroit Lions, well, then it just becomes a money-making venture. And it is now, don't get me wrong, but if you have an individual family owner, I think the idea would be they might prioritize winning in teams more than just somebody who's just counting, like a major company just counting numbers. That's probably where they're going with it.
Exactly. So that's the little mini update on the whole sale. I had a thing I threw out there. This is good. But we have to learn to accept, especially those people on Twitter. You know who I'm talking about with those people. The sale is 1,000 baby steps, and this is just another baby step. That's what this is. Don't think this is the end and it's a victory and have the parade now. No. It's
well, Alex, wasn't it you that had the best analogy? One of the two of you said, "How long does it take to buy a house?"
Yeah.
And now we're multiply that into $6 billion, and now I do these every day.
I made the house thing, and then you said that second part.
I do this every day, and I told you I've had some that go on for literally
years.
Yeah.
And we get it. I think, well, David and I get it. I don't know if those people get it, because I don't know if some of those people even own a house.
Some people just aren't very smart when it comes to, I mean, their level of experience in things like this is very minimal.
Right.
and it's not really a knock on them particularly. They just
I mean,
don't understand.
my level of experience is minimal. I've bought in a house, I've bought cars, and that's about it. Like, big time finance, most people never do.
They don't. You can't wrap your head around it until you're in the middle of it.
Right. I imagine even when you're in the middle of it, sometimes it's hard to wrap your head around.
Oh yeah, so I've seen it on some of these deals and stuff, and there's so many different lenders and so many different parts, and a lot of times it is hard to keep up with, like, who's this guy again and what is their role, and you have to go back and check notes, and
And somehow there's like he's gonna give him 40 chickens, and that's gonna count for this.
Well, and what people lack an appreciation of is like the sheer amount of just paper.
Yeah.
There's so many different agreements and and notices and this and that. I mean, it's these kind of things. It's not just like you do a bill of sale, like
Right.
you're buying a Ford and they just write Ford F-150, $30,000, sale. Probably 3 times that now. But point is, it's like you're killing redwoods to do deals like this.
Oh yeah. Fun fact: I found the original bill of sale for my great grandmother had for that summer house that we have as a family.
Wait! Don't say how much. What year? First of all, tell me that.
It would have been right after they bought the property right after World War II, so 1945.
And how big is the property?
Technically 8 acres.
Okay, so we're gonna guess. Dave, you go first.
Well, you can guess, but I'll also tell you the bill of sale, Steve. It was literally written on a notepad. With like little flowers and stuff on it.
But it had a price on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the price.
We're both going to guess. You
8
guess
acres.
first.
Now, there was no house there. It was
8
just
acres.
woodland.
Okay.
Now you're talking about the bill of sale when it was first purchased?
Yep.
Oh, wow. You're going way back there. So let me guess and say about probably like $34,000.
For 8 acres of land in let's say 1945, because I don't remember the exact year.
Oh, I thought you said 1912.
Oh, no. 1945.
45.
Okay.
World War II.
Probably. So maybe 150,000.
I think you were more right the first time.
I'm just spitting out numbers, dude. I have no idea.
No,
I'm gonna say $10,000.
$500.
500. Yeah.
For 8 acres of woodland back then. Yep. The land used to be cheap in this country. You got to remember.
Now it's worth $1 billion to build a stadium.
Yeah, and that's a crappy stadium.
Yes.
That's capitalism for you.
Yeah, I just thought your whole point about like how bills of sale used to be. It was literally like just chicken scratch on.
Well, actually, you don't do bills of sale for land, but regardless.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Back then, I don't think they had any laws.
No, probably not. Well, there were recorded deeds and stuff, but yeah. Anyway, no, but
that's how they did it though. They just wrote it down
on a notepad, on a piece of notebook paper.
Yep. All right, so getting back to the team, because we're just all over the place right now, because it's a light week, folks.
It's mainly me.
We're kind of having fun. There was an interesting little Chase Young trade rumor that made its way through the social media world. I saw it on Bro Bible of all places, which reliable news source they are.
I have not heard this at all. So Alex
so there's not a whole lot to it. Apparently, there's a claim that Albert Breer is saying there's talk that Washington would be willing to listen to trade rumors or to trade offers for Chase Young, which is the most vague and nondescript. Like, he's not hearing it from people in Washington. He's hearing people might be interested in making offers in Washington might listen. And Twitter ate that.
Is that
shit
news?
up.
I mean, that's not news.
It's classic. There's so little going on. Twitter eats up every.
The Chiefs would listen to a Patrick Mahomes trade if you paid him enough assets.
Yeah, of course. If you I don't know what you could offer to get Patrick Mahomes away from Kansas City.
I'm just saying. I mean,
yeah.
That would be an interesting offer.
It would be a lot.
Well, he's got a really, really burdensome contract too. But so the rumor isn't like Chase Young for some player. The rumor is just Washington will listen. Period.
Yeah.
That's the rumor.
Now there was one. I think it was like either Bleacher Report or SI that said like trading Chase Young to Cincinnati for their linebacker that he drafted in the 5th round, like the same draft or whatever. And it was like, we'll make that trade to be change of environment for both players. I think we'll work out for both teams. I'm like,
I don't think Washington would ever do that.
I'm
No.
like, I mean, you're talking like we already have that linebacker on this roster. Why
Well,
the
for
heck would
one
we
thing,
trade Chase Young for that?
more importantly, you could let him walk and get at least a third round pick back.
Right,
You know,
Right.
I mean, it's going to be interesting because I could see them ending up getting 2 third rounders if Young and Sweat walk and both get big contracts. You know, like that is in the
I
cards
mean,
possibly.
I got to be honest. I'm disappointed in the rumor. I thought it was going to be crazier.
Oh
than
no,
that.
I more think it's weird how people just hear something that vague and eat it up.
I think. I mean, it's not as crazy a thought as it seems. He's been a disappointment
Sure.
for the most part.
You're being blasphemous, Steve. There are guys on
What do you
Twitter
want me
who
to-
sit there and there are
want
guys
me to
on
be
Twitter that
honest?
sit there and attack people for saying, "Well, after a rookie year, he hasn't done much of anything."
No,
Yeah.
and
How dare you say that? I'm like, stop it.
yeah, I mean, we've been over this. I mean, he's
Yeah, I know.
you know, he's off, on his own planet half the
Yeah.
time, and his
Yeah.
impact is limited. Yes, he won Rookie of the Year, but I thought it was kind of a weak Rookie of the Year class, you
Yeah.
know, there, and he was the big name, you know.
By the way,
Um,
you'll also like to know, Steve, he's still wearing a leg brace in camp.
that doesn't surprise me that much. He
Hmm.
really tore his knee up. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
just your average ACL tear.
Right.
you
And
know.
didn't they have to repair multiple things in that?
Yeah,
same
well,
knee?
that's the other thing. It's like, what is the status of his knee? You know,
Yeah.
is he losing some of his explosiveness? So
Yeah.
I think if Washington got a good enough offer, I might think about it. Because if you did that, then you could commit to signing Chase or Montez
Montez
Sweat.
Sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
from
ahead.
what I
Dave.
understand, the reports right now, he's been very explosive off that knee, cuts, everything. I was looking like there were no setbacks, complications, or anything right now in camp. And so, I mean, everyone's
He's
saying
actually
he's
there?
looking really good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
there.
for a mandatory camp. He's running there for the mandatory.
Oh, this is mandatory. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're in mini camp now,
Oh, okay.
which
So-
people don't know was originally named by dwarves. You know?
Tyrion Lannister named minicamp.
Yes, it was named after Walter Camp and his dwarf friends, and they called it mini camp.
You're gonna get us in trouble with.
I'm sorry if any dwarf people who are listening, or little people, whichever term you prefer. I don't know what
Don't
the
worry.
proper term is now.
Don't worry, I am not offended. We're good.
Okay. I
Because
forgot
Dave
Dave's
is
so
about
short.
what are you 5'1"?
Yeah, about 5. I'm 5'6", but I
I
work around
thought
so
you were
many
maybe
people. Like
I
I
thought
work
you were
around with
maybe
so many
4'10" or
people, like
something.
5'6", like 6 foot 6'2". I feel like I'm like 4 foot nothing.
Sure.
So
I'm not much taller than you. I'm only 5'8" myself. So
right.
I guess I tower over everyone here because I'm 5'11".
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the little mini Chase Young rumor thing that
I don't think it's that crazy. I'm not saying Washington should just make an effort to trade him, but
Right.
would you listen to trade him? Yeah, you probably should. I mean, don't
Yeah.
make a dumb trade. Keep him for another year and let him walk at the minimum. But if you get better than like a third round pick, maybe you know, and a good
Yeah.
player.
If someone offered you like a second rounder, I'd seriously consider it. Sure. No question about that. Or that caliber of player. It's got to be for player. You'd have to get something you really need as a starter,
Punt
right?
returner.
Like
Get a punt returner.
a punt returner.
Yes. Get a
Yeah,
second
okay, there
round
we go.
pick and a punt returner.
Oh, a second rounder and a punt returner. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Then we're
Just like
cooking.
out of that movie Draft Day. Putney,
Right.
get Putney. Why? Because I feel like it. Wasn't that
It
such
did.
a,
Yeah.
Such a weird movie.
I love that
The
movie. I watch it
disrespect.
every time I see it.
So do I.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find like the whole Kevin Costner relationship with who's it, Jennifer Gardner and all.
It's a bit odd.
Yeah. That's a bit cheap. Like they're like, we need to shoehorn a woman in here somehow. Let's just do
So
that.
they bring in a lady that's like 40 years younger than he is.
Right. And somehow, but she's also still too old to actually have a kid at this point. Like it just doesn't make sense.
But it's a great movie. You ought to watch. Yeah, everybody ought to watch it. I think that Kevin Costner is limited as an actor. It seems like he's constantly reading off cue cards or something. I don't know.
I think it's the
He plays one
Midwestern
character.
vibe.
He plays one character in every movie.
Well, I think he peaked at Field of Dreams. So that's about it.
But he always plays the same guy.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
and like Pacino and De Niro do the same thing. They have one character. They never deviate from that character.
In
De
fact,
Niro at least had range at one point, though, like early on.
A little bit early on.
and that one baseball movie he did as a pitcher. What was the name of that movie again?
Where he's
Who?
pitching the perfect game. I can never remember the name of that either.
Costner?
Yeah, with
it's
Costner.
like his least known movie, and it's a really good one.
I don't think I've seen this movie.
But
Hold
his
on.
his demeanor in that movie, it's almost like after Field of Dreams, it was like he became a baseball pitcher, and that's like the sequel right there.
Yeah.
I mean, his demeanor is like exactly
For love
the
of the
same.
game. That's
Love
what
of the
it is.
game. There you
I've
go,
never
For Love of
seen
the Game.
that.
It
actually a
is
good movie.
worth a watch, Steve.
Yes, it
He,
is actually.
he plays
a
a
very good
40-year-old pitcher who's like just never really made it, and suddenly he's pitching a perfect game.
Hmm.
Yeah. Fantastic movie. And you're a Seamhead, you'll love it. Yeah. Yes. That's the range of Kevin Costner, though, is baseball movie to cowboy.
Are we talking about football still?
I don't know. All right, let's go back to football. Dave, you wrote some observations about camp. Do you want to kind of go through some of those things you've heard?
Oh, I think Steve's salivating to start with one thing first.
Yes, because Steve wants to make fun of you for things.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
something about
okay.
Sam Howell.
So so Dave's column this week was, I changed the title from what it originally was. So it was just OTA observations.
So many curse words in that original title, Dave.
I know, right? I used too many four-letter words, I think.
He was going to get us banned from the internet. And it's a good column. He's got a lot of thoughts in it as always, and goes through a range of things here. But the thing that kind of blew my mind, and this is, it's his opinion, so I mean, I'm not going to, but based purely on the commitment to excellence, Howell is poised to be the franchise quarterback for years to come.
Hold on, wait a
Are we talking about this? Are we talking about
No,
Sam
hold
Howell
on,
played
hold
one
on.
game?
Hold on, wait a second. I
would like to
gotta
point
read that
everybody
myself
to
because
Steve, you know how you were showing us your
one.
mouth at the beginning? He was doing that to Sam Howell. He's just like, ah.
I would like to point everybody, including Dave, to the last sentence of the first paragraph of this column, in which, to repeat, based purely on commitment to excellence, Howell is poised to be the franchise quarterback for years to come.
that is not exactly what I meant to write. At all.
Again, it was like, that's the, I thought I reading this because I had read this like midnight last night. I was really busy yesterday, and I
You know
thought, well,
what?
that's his opinion. I'm not going to curse his opinion, but his opinion is nuts. That's all I was saying.
Actually, that line right there, I wouldn't mind if you called me at 12:30 at night to say, "Hey,
I
listen,
was-
do you mean that?"
I would have if it hadn't been so late, but it was late, and it would have been later for you because I'm an hour behind you.
Steve, you know how you made fun of me all those years for Matt Ioannidis fanboying?
Oh yeah.
This is far worse than anything I've ever said.
Listen, this is Dave. I was about to say something really was going to get us in trouble, but yeah, this is yes, Dave is Sam Howell's simp.
Yes.
Well,
Dave
according to
apparently
this, I
wants-
am now. I guess yes.
Dave wants Sam Howell to be married into his family somehow. Let's put it that way.
I think Dave wants Sam Howell to take his wife. That's what I would think.
Oh boy, there you go.
I just wanted to see if you stood
Sorry,
up for that.
Dotson.
I just wanted to see if you were going to stand up and own that line or not.
No,
I'm glad to hear it didn't come out right.
No, it absolutely didn't come out right. No.
Because again, it was midnight for me because I was really busy and I got to edit this column before I go to bed.
Because
and I got to this, and I was
because
like,
as
what the hell?
as soon as you got to, based on the purely commitment to excellence, Sam Howell's, I'm like, wait, hold on, repeat that. What did you just say? I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, here we go.
I hope everybody doesn't think I'm being too negative on Howell, but listen, I know you're fans, you want him to succeed, and great, and he does have potential, but the man has played one game,
and he's a fifth-round pick.
And he's a fifth-round pick, and as we proved 2 weeks ago, that's a very low success rate. And I went back and read them 2 years ago. I did a insanely detailed column. It was 4 parts. For those of you who don't remember this, and I went back and analyzed every single pick for the last 20 years.
Right.
and did a statistical analysis complete with standard deviation and all kind. It was way over the top, even for me.
By the way,
Right.
that was done long enough ago where the 20-year mark was picked because Tom Brady had been at his 20-year mark, and we're like 5 years past that now.
Yeah, I picked 20 years because I just didn't want to go back farther. It was really all it is. But my point is, once you get past round 3, it goes downhill. And the
Right.
odds in like round 6 and 7 are about the same. But generally speaking, you're talking about like
Yeah.
15 to 20% shot at that level of them being a starter, even a starter. And then you're talking about like no quarterbacks not named Tom Brady or become like a superstar at that level.
Right. Yeah, like the post round 3, round 4, it just drops precipitously. Yeah.
If you guys want to
Right.
detail, that's one of the best things I've ever done. And if you really want to find it, there was 4 parts, and just you have to Google like Hogstye analysis of draft or something to find it.
Yeah.
Actually, that would have
If
been
you
a
go to
perfect
our
link to put in my article a couple weeks ago.
I'll try to find if you find part 4, it's got all the other links to the first 3 parts in it. So start there. But I went through every round. And once I got to the end, it was like a reverse analysis because the chances are so low. So I just did it, how many picks made it,
Yeah.
Right. Well, see the one thing I like about Hal right now, and it's what I try to convey that final sentence, which kind of didn't convey this at all.
It's his dreamy
really.
eyes. And
Yeah, it's when you go all the way back to his time at North Carolina, and what you're seeing right now, and what's being reported right now in camp, is the one thing that Hal is very apt at doing is that he wants to accept critical coach, and he wants to understand what his flaws are. He wants to improve them. He tries not to repeat his mistakes. He likes the hard coaching, and he works. He studies and he works. And what I meant to try to come across in is that if you just graded a franchise quarterback on just the commitment to his work ethic and what he tries to do, and where he I mean he's our franchise quarterback for years to come. Sure, if you just grade it on the mentality of thinking on how he is and how he was, obviously talent, all that's got to fall into place, obviously, and just like in camp right now, it's like everyone is raving about a lot of good things he's doing, which is true. I mean, he's doing a lot of good things, but there's also there's really only a couple people really talking about the fact that he has been up and down. He's been just as inconsistent as he has been good. I mean,
not a surprise,
No, it's not. Well, in fact, even Bieniemy ripped him out of the huddle today because apparently he dropped a snap. And he pulled him out and he reamed him for that on the sideline.
I just like to repeat that, to quote Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And how that relates to football is that Washington's offensive line is a living, breathing, moving train wreck.
Right. Well, it's going to get you punched in the face at some point, yes.
I know, that's right. He's literally going to get punched in the face with the offensive line in front of him. And I mean, they're not, with a quarterback like that, where you like him, he's got some talent, great work ethic, all that, but you have to give him a chance to succeed. How do you do that? You build up the offensive line. Instead, Ron Rivera, for reasons known only to Ron Rivera, has basically, shopped at Walmart for offensive line since the day he got here. I don't get it. You traded your Bentleys in, and you're going through the Costco auto purchase, route now. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. There was also some mention this week by Rivera. Look, Hal might be our QB1 right now, and he'll probably be it through camp, but it could be an open competition, and Jacoby Brissett could overtake him.
I would like to pose a theory, and I credit Rick Snyder for this because I watched one of his videos a week or so ago. I don't remember which one, but he said
he only
this.
posts like 10 a day,
I know. I don't. I watched this one, and he posted this, and I sign on to this, but I give him credit for it. The move isn't to start the vet, because if the vet goes down or is bad, then you're stuck with the rookie, and it's going to get worse. And so the move is to start the rookie, and when things go to hell, then you say, well, I've got the vet on the bench and he can come in and save the day. That was Rick's opinion, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you give Howell the first shot at it, and then you come rescue, get the vet to come rescue him.
It's kind of been a storyline for Heineke in his last 2 years for Rivera. He's kind of come in and played that cleanup role.
Right. So I think it makes sense, especially given what they've done with their roster and all that. They're going to give Hal the shot. If it just goes to hell and the handbacks is completely, put it.
Right. If they're 0-5, yeah, sure.
Even if he just really stinks in training camp, maybe, like this guy just can't make it, then maybe they go to, but he's going to get every opportunity, I think, to be first. And I think you have some points, Dave. You really do. I mean, he's got a good work ethic. The senior season in North Carolina did not go well, but they did lose a lot of talent at North Carolina.
Yes, they did.
And so not everything is in a vacuum. There are reasons for it. And so maybe he'll turn on. The odds are against him, honestly, but I mean, maybe he'll turn on.
It just goes to the point that, I know every quarterback needs talent around them to succeed. I get all that. But the thing is, with certain quarterbacks, you have to have the right components in order for that quarterback to play at that level you need him to be for your team to be successful. That 2020 season in North Carolina, he had a real stout offensive line. He had all the weapons around him, and North Carolina went to a bowl game. He lost all of that. He was North Carolina's second leading rusher. And then everything just kind of crumbled around him. Although I think he still had a nice year. Don't get me wrong, he didn't have a bad year.
Wasn't anything like what his year before was, though.
Correct. No, it wasn't.
Give him credit that he kind of played ball and adjusted his game to what they had.
Yeah. I mean, I legitimately think that Washington's quarterback room is probably bottom 5 in the NFL.
No, I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
But you never know what will work out. Who knows?
Purely on no one's proven anything. It's Washington, maybe Tampa, and New Orleans are the.
Well, that's like when Jacoby Brissett's your savior, you might consider getting a new savior. You know,
he's a good backup. Oh, and I'll throw Atlanta in there. Atlanta's kind of the same.
Yeah, I mean they're not the only one. Yeah, I mean there's a couple. Yeah, but
I'm just it's kind of listing ones that I would put in that list or in that group.
And my column this week is about the linebacker room, which is just atrocious. I mean, they've got to have the worst linebacker group in the league.
All right, if you were to say linebacker, quarterback, and let's throw tight end in there, which of those is Washington number 32 on the most likely? You think linebackers?
Yeah, because like Atlanta's quarterback room is disaster too.
Sure.
Tight ends. I mean, they have put some draft picks into the tight end room the past couple of years, and so there may be a team out there that just has got a bunch of undrafted free agents as tight ends.
Yeah, I'd have to look at every team.
But the Washington's linebacker group, they legitimately have one real starter, and Jamin Davis.
Not even a great starter.
No, and the rest of them, that linebacker room is atrocious.
Yeah,
and hopefully Cody Barton can prove us all wrong in that one, but we'll see.
Yeah. That's the hope. You got to hope. Yep. Otherwise, they got nothing.
And
so
again,
they still need another guy.
And once again, Khaleke Hudson has been looking phenomenal for like the third year in a row.
In
minicamp.
And that's right. It's minicamp. So I don't know if either you guys don't have to agree with me. That's my vote to answer your question. Would be linebackers.
I'd probably lean linebackers on that too, only because we really are only 1.5 deep. We're not even too deep.
That's right. You know what I mean? That's exactly right.
See, it's a tricky question because I would say you're right about we're 1.5 deep and we need 3 starters in that group. But I also think overall the talent level at the tight end position is lower on this team just because Logan Thomas looked like a shell of himself last year. Mm-hmm. And like if that's your best guy, you're in trouble.
I didn't say it's good. I just meant
no.
They may have enough talent in the room to be ranked above one or two other teams. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I get it.
It's like a shade of gray in reverse.
Which is still gray, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so Dave, any other thing? I mean, that was the big thing, of course, was the Sam Howell.
Oh, I mean,
I'd like you to address Forbes actually, because you said some good things about Emmanuel Forbes in this column.
Forbes, he's been really looking. when you look at the aspect on just his instincts and his his quick reaction time onto the ball, all that's been as advertised so far in camp. He's been very quick to read the play pre-snap, post-snap, react on the ball. He's been having a lot of pass breakups, some good good interceptions and everything. His speed, especially short area burst, is definitely so far has been as advertised. I'm excited about that because when you see it, because he has football speed. You saw that when he was in college. He has football speed.
Right.
Now how he was able to react on the field and at an NFL level, it's like he's just translating his instincts smoothly. He's not great, I guess, just yet, but he has time to grow in that, obviously. And then when it comes to like anything coming deep, if he's not covering Dotson and Terry McLaurin all the way downfield, he's within a step and a half. So he's actually been looking the part so far. The biggest thing is, he's got a real skinny frame. You worry about if he can hold up to a full season and everything. But the one thing that is, it kind of does perturb me, and I really wish that people would watch what they're doing with this. I understand Darrell Green's game in college. They're very similar in terms of instincts and speed and everything that Darrell Green brought to the game, but Darrell Green brought a level of football IQ and level of instincts that's very rarely seen in a corner. And when you compare Forbes and Darrell Green just in college alone, Forbes kind of can stand in the room with him a little bit, but he wasn't at that level of Darrell Green in college.
Well, also, Darrell Green might have been the second fastest player in NFL history,
right?
Behind Bullet Bob Hayes.
Yep.
And Emmanuel Forbes is not anywhere near that level. He might be fast, but he's not doing what Darrell Green did.
Absolutely not.
Well, and Dave, one of the things you put in that post was that tweet that someone had about, well, Green was only $180 and who was Pat Fisher was something, let's not compare the sizes of guys from 40 years ago to players today, because linemen back then were about 60 pounds less.
Well, and Darrell Green was 5'8" or 9" or something.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Forbes is like 6'1", $160. He's an absolute beanpole.
Yeah, he's a lot leaner. Darrell Green, even if when you look at the picture on there, you look at Darrell Green's legs. His legs were thick.
Darrell Green looked like a football player.
Exactly.
Emmanuel Forbes looks like a basketball player.
Emmanuel Forbes looks like Todd Pinkston in a uniform. If you remember Todd Pinkston in Philadelphia. So it's now see, I think the one thing that can work well for him in today's game is that it's not as physical anymore as it was then.
I just opened up Wikipedia because it was easy, and Wikipedia has Darrell Green listed at 5'9", 184. In other words, nearly 20 pounds heavier than Forbes at 4 inches. Isn't Forbes 6'1"? I have it. What am I talking about?
A half or something, yeah.
Yeah, I have it right in front of me. What am I talking about? Hold on. It's on I've got my humongous chart here.
They're saying on that tweet is saying that he's 5'9".
Who?
Emmanuel Forbes.
But Emmanuel Forbes is 6'1". Emmanuel Forbes is 6'1". Yeah. He was measured I have it right here. He's measured at 6'1", 166. So
that tweet was wrong too on top of that for his height rise.
18 pounds lighter than Darrell Green at 4 inches shorter.
Right.
The guy is a beanpole.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, this is the thing. It's like, I think the guy is going to have trouble playing inside.
Absolutely.
He's got to be an outside corner, and he's not going to be able to match up to some like hulking, 230-pound receiver. He's got kind of a more limited, span of skill, just because of his body type.
Yeah. Right. Well, I said it when we were talking about him after the draft. You're going to put Benjamin St-Juste on Brown when you played the Eagles, and you're going to have to put Forbes on Smith. You're going to match them up that way, and it'll be okay, I think.
But I haven't checked Twitter at all this week, but last week I did, and I stumbled on some people talking about this, and I can't even remember who these people were, but they were concerned that the team was going to keep Fuller on the outside because of his salary.
Well, that's what the talk is right now.
And move St. Juice inside. Does everybody realize that Benjamin St. Juice is not an inside corner? No. Do you guys know this? He's an outside corner, okay?
Yeah. And I honestly don't think Jack Del Rio is going to put him inside because he had him on the inside, and he wasn't nearly as effective until he went to the outside. And when he got to the outside, his game completely flipped.
Maybe just Twitter talk. I mean, maybe I didn't. It was me in like 30 seconds, and I saw this argument. So it might have not been anything.
Well, I think right now they're looking at Jack Del Rio has been playing around with the secondary a lot, moving guys. I mean, he's even had Fuller back at safety for a little bit. He's moving parts around to see
it's only training. It's only minicamp. You do that. I mean, it's not set in stone.
Well, and let's be clear. Even if you say you want to keep him on the outside, there's going to be times where he's covering a guy. They'll go in motion, and he's going to have to be in the slot.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about on a regular basis.
Right. I know. I don't think they've determined who's the slot guy. I think it's going to be that other corner they drafted, the second rounder.
Thank God the team spent 2 straight draft picks on corners. I mean, I couldn't think anything smarter to do with my draft assets.
Right. Well, I mean, we're stout at the offensive line. We're set there, right?
Yeah, it's set. They don't need linebackers either. I mean, you might as well draft
linebackers.
Corners.
They don't need tight ends. They don't need. No. They couldn't have used a second quarterback. Like that kid out of Tennessee.
Nah. T.J. Hooker. What? T.J. Hooker. That's a show. Hooker. Herndon Hooker. Yeah. There was no reason to bring him to Washington. You're set at quarterback Dave proved it. He was set. Sam Howell is clearly a franchise quarterback.
There you go.
Absolutely. I mean, he's such a got a commitment to excellence, Steve.
I did notice though. You finally spelled Eric Bieniemy's name right.
And I made sure I used it multiple times.
Copy and paste. Did you copy and paste a little?
No, I didn't actually. I specifically spelled it out.
Yeah. By the way, the Bieniemy stuff is great. Like all this fact that he's very high energy, and people are always already like, oh, but if it doesn't work out, everyone's gonna hate him. Well, yeah, if it doesn't work out, everyone will hate you anyway. That's how football works. If you do whatever you do, if you are successful, people will tolerate it in football. That's the nature of coaching. It didn't work out. It's because he's too player friendly. Oh, it didn't work out. He's too authoritarian.
Right.
That's every
put
coach.
Up with a lot if you just win.
Right.
As long as we don't have a team full of LaShawn McCoys, we'll be okay.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, let's talk defensive tackles real quick because we do have to cover our position group for the week. Probably the most set group in this entire offense is the defensive tackle position, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the defensive tackle group this year is Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, John Ridgway. I'm going to butcher this guy's name. I just call him in my head Benning Potato, but it's not Potato.
That's what I call him too.
Yeah, but it's not. It's a Samoan name. Poote, I think maybe.
Yeah.
David Bada.
Potoa, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But it's more fun to say Benning Potato.
By the way, if it doesn't work out, he could come to my neighborhood because I live in the Benning Road neighborhood. He could open a potato place called Benning Potato.
He could be a chef.
Yeah,
there you go.
Benning's Potatoes. David Bada and Phil Mathis, who is coming back from injury. That is the group. And obviously, Payne and Allen are signed to long-term contracts.
Right.
And they are, I think it's fair to say, the heart and soul of the defense.
Right. And then you got Mathis, who was third rounder or second rounder? I can't remember.
Second rounder.
Second rounder. And again, I criticize the draft choices made by Washington's leadership.
Because if you think about it right now, instead of Fedarian Mathis, it would have been Nakobe Dean in the middle of that defense right now with John Davis. And that would have been a beautiful combination right now.
You're so right. And it's like, how many high draft choices can this administration screw up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. they don't. It's not. They're not good at balancing, and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
So yeah, this group is set. To answer the question, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Allen signed through 2025, Payne through 2026, Mathis 2025 on a rookie deal,
Mhm.
and then Ridgway, by the way, is signed to a 4-year deal himself. So Ridgway's going to be here. Benning Potato is on a 1-year. He's in the last year of his deal. Who else I am, and that's it. And so there's not a lot of. I would think they're probably going to keep 8 or 9 defensive linemen probably
Right.
total.
Usually you
And-
do 4 and 4 in a fourth
yeah,
grade, right?
and so and this group is pretty much set. Allen, Payne, Ridgway on his 4-year deal in Mathis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
that's what I
Bada,
would
if they keep another one, it'd be Bada.
Yeah, I mean they do like Bada. We know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's one of those Ron guys.
He's an international. My guess is the team may be getting pressure to keep him, also
the
because he's an
international thing,
international track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't he also capable of bouncing out to the end too for a little bit on certain rotations?
I don't know. He hasn't played too much.
I mean, so they have 3 guys who are in that like big 300 plus range. I think it is the 320-ish size guys, and then they have Bada is smaller. He's only 293 on the team's website. So I mean, I guess in a scenario you could definitely move him to end if it's like we want to run stuff end for this play. You could definitely do that. I think this team's always emphasized guys could play anywhere.
I almost to their detriment, though. At some point,
Sure,
you got to have the experts. A lot of these, I tend to think some of these guys they bring in like this are, what's the old saying? Masters of nothing. What's that?
Jack of all trades,
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Some of there's some of that going on this roster generally.
Oh yeah, I think your superstars you definitely shouldn't be moving them everywhere if they're
right
unless you have a rare guy like the linebacker that Cowboys drafted, whose name the Penn State guy.
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Parsons. Unless you got a Micah Parsons who like that's part of his game.
I mean, he's going to be an All-Pro. He's
right.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so. By the way, this segment is called Position Group Breakdown. We do it every year, and we will have. I think it's safeties next week. We're starting on defense. So. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. So, you try to get the boring ones out of the way first, usually. That's kind of our MO here. Defensive tackle, it's the strength of the team, and we kind of already know who's making it. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, it's not exactly the news,
right.
News flash.
And I shouldn't say boring ones. The ones we could predict easiest, we do first because the later you get in this camp and stuff.
There's a method to the madness of the way we arrange these things.
Yes. It's not just madness and us talking about concerts and toilets.
Exactly. Yeah. So next week. Oh,
Safety.
It's no, we've already done. It's linebackers.
Oh. Ooh. Maybe you should push that one back.
We can.
I actually, you know what? I won't be here, so do that then.
We'll do linebackers.
All right, guys, that should wrap us up for this week. This has been the most Scatterbrain show I think we've ever had.
I got one more input.
Hey, you got your title right there.
There's a headline on ESPN I just wanted to get out there.
Oh, right. You did have that.
And now I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Browns Watson having fun as confidence is back.
Yeah.
And so they're talking about Mr. Creepo.
That's an unfortunate headline.
Yeah, it is. And so it begs the natural question of what he's having fun doing. Of course.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
He must have found the local ladies of the evening, the creepy massage, parlor types.
Not to generalize too much, but the ladies of the evening in Houston are probably better than the ones in Cleveland.
I would venture a guess, just from sheer numbers perspective.
From a numbers perspective and from a amount of bratwurst consumed perspective.
Well, that too, but to reemphasize though, we laugh, but the allegations were very serious.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
and
they were.
some
he's
they were legitimate.
He's a monster.
Yes. And I'm really glad that I would have we might have ended the show Alex and I might not have done this show anymore if he had brought
I
if Watts
absolutely.
had come to DC.
Yeah, it would have been over.
Yeah.
That would have been it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would have
And
been Dave Earl by himself.
Yeah.
No
Which is
way.
weird. He wasn't even on the show at that point. I don't
That's
think.
true.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I wasn't actually.
Yeah. It would have just been Jamal, which would have been very weird at this point.
Jamal missed half our show, so.
All right, guys, that should take care of it for this week. Like I said, I won't be around for the next show or the show after that. I'm doing a little vacation, so we will. Well, you'll hear Steve and Dave. I don't know what they'll talk about.
Vacation? What's that?
Yeah. Well, you now have a job. You can take one if you wanted, but you
It's
just
tough
don't want
to get. It's not that. It's just
I
tough
know,
to get back in the mode of it and having vacation days again.
Yep.
Just get
All right.
yourself on a cruise ship and go.
Yep.
You earlier you told me to go fly to some other city to go see Queen. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
there's no
There you
way I'm
go.
getting on a cruise ship. Okay, I'm just telling you that right now. Not because I'm afraid of a boat, but I don't want to be trapped on a floating hotel for a week.
I did that cruise a year ago, Steve. It's not for you. No.
And it's
And
drinking, and I don't drink alcohol, and it's like,
It's
what
not
am I
for
going to
you.
do on this boat?
It's
Let me
drinking
tell you
and
something.
consuming
I
a
went-
massive amount of food.
I go on that cruise. I love that cruise, and I don't even drink a lot when I'm on there. And shows on there are really good. You sit there. You can if you get a room with a balcony, the views out there in the morning and at night. You can.
But I have to be on the boat for
Yeah.
a week.
I got a perfect vacation for you.
Okay.
Go to Cleveland.
Uh-huh.
Go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because you do love your music.
I do.
Before or after the massage parlor?
No, oh, see, you
No.
took the joke. You took the joke.
You totally blew it. I knew where you were going with it. I knew you were going where.
Yeah, it was gonna be go to a massage parlor and punch Deshaun Watson in the nose. That's where I was gonna go.
Because I need to punch a 6'2" NFL player. That was going to go well. Things sure to go wrong.
All right, guys. See you around.
See ya.